Today I want to ask the question, are Mantic Games' terrain crates actually worth the money? Let's find out right after this. Hey everyone, Sam here from the Tabletop Hub, your one-stop shop for all things tabletop, and this right here is a terrain crate from Mantic Games. Now if you don't know anything about these, basically the folks over at Mantic have put together these themed boxes or crates full of little bits and pieces for you to use on your game boards or D&D campaigns. Now the terrain crates are split between sci-fi and fantasy and equally range from a small set which would set you back £8 and the actual crate like this one which will cost you £60. In essence, these are for the players out there who are just looking for that niche piece of terrain, like a blacksmith's forge or some regal loot or even a hangman's noose, right up to the players who are just looking to get all those pieces of scattered terrain in one go. Now Mantic Games gave me one of these terrain crates to see what I thought of it. It's something I was curious about, but if I'm totally honest with you, I wasn't totally sure about the price. The small sets are perfectly priced, in my opinion, at £8, but for the likes of the crate here, £60 is a good bit of money to throw down on something like this. It could buy you a tabletop game in its own right in some cases, so what I wanted to do was to trawl the internet to see if I could source all the little pieces you get inside the crate from other companies, and equally if by doing so I could create Mantic's terrain crate more cheaply. If I do, it speaks for itself, but if I don't, it shows us whether you are actually getting your money's worth here. So, let's begin. Now, just as a caveat to begin with, I'm sure you could 3D print something pretty inexpensively. What I'm doing in this video is simply sourcing similar pieces of terrain from other reputable companies because I think that's more of a fair comparison. But I do think the growing accessibility of 3D printing really does change the marketplace when it comes to the tabletop in general, but I think that's more of a topic for another video. So for the walls, I found two contenders. We've got these stone walls from Warlord Games, and although they are lovely walls, they sell for about £15. Which is a quarter of our total price. So I needed to find it cheaper, and that's when I came across Ender Toys. Now their brick wall set comes in at $8.99 on Amazon, which is definitely a lot cheaper, but it shows. There's no real character to them. They're just walls, really. If you look at the walls from Mantic, or even the ones I found from Warlord, they have character, they have greater detail. So basically, if you want walls that are on par with Mantic's, you're looking at something like the Warlord set. So next, let's look at these log fences. Now, the best ones I could find that matched the quality we see here with Mantic's crate was from Rubicon Models. They have a log fence set coming in at £12, though you might be able to find that cheaper if you shop around a bit and find it from a different distributor. Next, let's look at some of the trickier bits like the sleeping bag and the camping gear. For these, I managed to find that TT Combat actually create a little camping accessories set. Challenge aside, I actually thought the set looked really cool. And that gets us the two sleeping bags, some of the cooking utensils, and some of the log accessories as well. It is important to note here though that not all of the little bits here are covered by the TT Combat set. Their set is equally more modern, which kind of jars with the fantasy look that Mantic have created there, but maybe with a little modification, and depending on how you paint them, they may do the job. Either way, the TT Combat set costs you £8, so that puts our new total up to £35 so far. So next I moved on to trying to find some bushes and shrubbery, and I'm going to be honest, I was surprised at how difficult it was to find a good bush. I'm sure there's a dirty joke in there somewhere, but let's not go there, we'll move on. I found trees, no problem, but it was hard to find plastic bushes or bushes that had a similar design to the ones we see here in Mantic's crate, with the ground below them and the wood showing. You can buy bags of bushes for like £5, but it's just replica foliage. The only thing I could find that was similar were these from Wayland Games. They're made out of resin, they're pre-painted, which is an added bonus, but they were out of stock. Cost-wise, also they did come in at £11, which is pretty hefty, putting our total up to £46. Now for the tents, for these I found Magister Militum, which had a Roman Legionary tent for £7.80, which would work for the wedge tent we see in Mantic's crate. We did get a tent in the TT Combat set, but it wasn't the same design. It was equally more modern, so I thought I'd try and find a period replacement. What was more difficult was finding the square officer's tent that you see in Mantic's crate. I did find two options. One was a medieval marquee from Magister Militum, and the other was a classical officer's tent. Both were £11, so we'll add that to the total and that just brings it up to about £64.80. Then to kind of bring us into land, I found some signposts from Foreground for £4.50 for a pack of 4, which would make them £1.13 each, but we have to add on the price of the total pack because you're not able to buy them separately. And finally, for the spikes that you see, I actually couldn't find anything which was similar to those, which is a little bit embarrassing for this challenge. So that leaves us at a total of £69.30 to source all of these bits individually, and that's without the cost of shipping from all of these different sources, and that's without the spikes. If I'm honest with you, part of me really wanted to beat Mantic with this and source all of these bits at a cheaper cost than what they're producing them. And to be honest, if you did go for lower quality bits, you maybe could, but in order to get terrain that's a really great quality, you're saving at least £10 by just picking up one of these terrain crates. It's one location, it's one shipping fee, you're done. So what do I actually think of these crates? Honestly, I think they're a great idea. The quality is great. The only thing that I don't like, and this really is the only thing, is that you don't have much control over what goes in the crate. So for me, the problem I have is that I go to Mantic's site and I see all the terrain bits and I think, oh, that would work really well, and so would that bit, but they're in different sets. What would be really cool would be if Mantic had a way to make these crates more modular. If it was more pick and mix really, and you choose what bits you want in your crate and you're just given the cost of all those bits at the checkout. There are some really amazing looking bits of terrain through these sets, and some of the pieces are so incredibly niche. I absolutely love that. So I think whether you're looking for additional scatter terrain for your war games or some pieces to spice up your RPG games, definitely do give the terrain crates from Mantic a look. There are some amazing small and large sets there, and I'll leave a link in the video description to where you can go and find them. But folks, if this is the first time you've come across the channel, thank you so much for spending a few minutes of your day here. If you've enjoyed what you've seen, feel free to hit the subscribe button down below. But until next time, have a great week, and I will of course speak to you all soon.